All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending. We're excited for the time we're about to spend together. The theme of the Prosales conference this year is pivot toward the promise of tomorrow. And indeed, we certainly believe the game has changed, and importantly, the game has changed in your favor. Today, rather than us talk about our product, we're going to have one of our customers, or one of your customers, share their perspective with you for a few minutes. It'll be a 3-minute video that we'll play. And then after that, we'll have Craig Webb and Brad Farnsworth discuss what we learned from Matthew from Supplier Homes. So without further ado, let us begin. And to start, and to put a frame around this, there's an infamous McKinsey report from 3 or 4 years ago that suggested the construction industry were laggards in the use of technology, and some would look askance of all of us of why that might be the case. At Buildxact, our perspective is that's not on the construction industry and the construction supply industry, but that's on the technology industry. And we believe that technology has really not sought to understand the pain points enough to really provide the solutions necessarily that we need to create the opportunity that the future will give us. And to give you, by way of example, the pro dealer perspective, or the dealer perspective, for example, here would primarily be when asking the question, how do we help our builders and our customers, not addressing their pain points, but addressing ours, and addressing what happens in doing business with us. So the technology tends to focus around the remittance process in dealing with the efficiencies in our own processes. Buildxact has a counter view. Our view is entirely builder-centric, and we sort out, and we've been at this game for 10 years, solving the pain points for builders and how they engage with, relate to, and purchase from pro dealers. So that perspective has resulted in the kind of conversation that we're about to have with Matthew. Now, Matthew is a cohort of one, we understand, but he is representative of the input that we get through data on over 13,500 projects just last year alone. So as you listen to Matthew, we can assure you that he is representative of a large cohort, and we have an announcement at the end of this session to give you an opportunity to participate in a broader understanding of what Matthew's going to tell us. Supplier Homes is a custom home and remodel business that does between 6 and 8 completions a year, and a couple of remodels on top of that in the Lake District in and around Dallas. So with that introduction, let's have Matthew speak for us.
We're, kind of the classic design build firm. It's 2 of us, me and my partner, 2-man operation. He handles a lot of the design side, being that's what his education and his trade experience is. I handle a lot of the admin, and we both oversee the total construction. So majority of the material ordering is on me. That's part of my job. Certainly that's something that Buildxact has helped me quite a bit in, especially with the great takeoffs that I can now do in Buildxact. Majority of the stuff we order, thankfully we're in a big enough area like Dallas where majority of the supplies are available. We have multiple suppliers for multiple categories. It's a mix of specialty suppliers and big box. A lot of times we will order through a Home Depot or a Lowe's. And then if there's something that's, like I said, more of a specialty type item, we will find that supplier in Dallas. Online has played a big role for us because that is the ultimate immediacy for me. It's pricing, it's availability, it's shipping times. I can see it all up front, and especially when we're dealing with semi-custom and custom homes. Typically a lot of change orders, a lot of material selection changes. If I could order everything online, I probably would. And that's maybe me being a little bit of a younger generation builder. who kind of grew up on Amazon and grew up on Amazon Prime, and grew up on why can't something be here in 2 days? Grew up on why don't I know pricing and availability right now? If I could order everything that way, I would. Even an item that was traditionally probably not purchased through one of the big box retailers, let's say the lumber for a house, I'm getting ready to place a lumber for a new project we're starting. I will more than likely probably purchase that through one of the big box retailers. I can see their availability. I feel like their lumber prices are great. I can order without having to talk to someone. I know if I'm going to be short an item. I can price shop between a couple different roof sheathings if I need to in real time, and have availability play a role in that as well. Order the whole thing and then get it shipped. And I never talk to anyone. So that's amazing to me. I mean, the fact that I'm not waiting on a callback or waiting for someone to give me pricing. I'm done. That order is completed. I know, and I'm going to get a confirmation email telling me when the delivery driver is going to be there. And I've moved on to something else. As much as I like speaking with suppliers and working with them, and if I have a question, it's nice to know that I can call someone. But as streamlined and as frictionless as I can make a purchasing transaction, almost regardless of size or scale, the better for me. And once again, I don't think that's just me because I grew up of the internet, and I have that expectation of how frictionless a purchase should be. I think it's just the way the world is moving.
So, Craig and Brad, why don't we start with you, Craig? What did we hear there from Matthew, do you think?
Thanks for letting me take part in this, and I really enjoyed the video. As the reporter in me took down these notes. One is that he likes online because he could see it all up front. If I could buy totally online, I would, he said. There probably were a few of you out there sipping your margaritas and choking when you heard the fellow say that Home Depot's lumber prices, quote unquote, are great. But I think the moral of that story is that for him, price matters less than efficiency. If he could never talk to anyone, he said, he would be perfectly happy. And the two takeaways I think that come out of this are a desire for, one, frictionless transactions, but still to have personal connections when personal connections are needed. I think so often among us as dealers today, we believe that every transaction needs a personal connection. And the answer is no. If you're just buying something and you know what you're buying and you're okay with the price and everything, don't do it. But you also have to have that availability to be personal as well. Those are the takeaways that I got out of it, Steve.
Thank you, Craig. And Brad?
Yeah, thanks, Craig and Steve, for being part of this as well. I would have to agree with Craig. The word I took out of it very strongly was that word frictionless. How can I facilitate the way my customer wants to do things? So again, where is the customer today? Not necessarily what channel he's shopping, but even if he's shopping you, is it online? Is he on site doing it online, or is he sitting in his truck on his cell phone? Are we capable of doing business with our customer where and how he wants to do business? Secondly, I think, again, as Craig mentioned, price is certainly still important, but it may not be as much as the driver as we have historically thought. This issue of availability and being able to have real-time availability, pricing, and shipping information is kind of critical. And that's what they are looking for, whether it's live or not live. Preferably, increasingly not live, but they do want service and support, but it's on their terms. So not how I used to think about, well, he has to talk to me to get something done. One of the reasons the big box may be picking up is because we always say, well, the big boxes don't have knowledgeable salespeople. Maybe the technology is replacing that knowledgeable salesperson, and he's more of a troubleshooter, problem solver, than necessarily a fact giver. Transparency, certainly. The custom builders, remodelers that we talk to say, just tell me the truth. If you don't have it, tell me, I can work around that. Or if you got a delivery schedule, tell me what it's going to be. If it changes, communicate, just don't hide it from me. And then finally, we're picking up from a lot of these discussions, as you just heard from Matthew, the role that big boxes are coming on much stronger. One, because they are investing in that technology. And therefore, don't assume that you're the only supplier, or don't always assume you're the primary supplier, even if they are a good customer. Those are some of the takeaways that we kind of gathered.
Well, thank you very much, Brad, and thank you, Craig. And as I said in introduction, Buildxact has invested 10 years in understanding the pain points of these builders. And these builders have asked us over the 10 years to develop the capacity for suppliers and pro dealers to provide them frictionless services, as Matthew is describing his need. So what we are going to do with this is understanding that Matthew, as I said, is a cohort of one, is that Farnsworth Group and Web Analytics and Buildxact are going to launch a research project called the Hidden Profits Project. Now, some of you might say, well, these custom home builders doing less than 10 builds a year, and these remodels are a really difficult market for us to get. Well, we know that we shift buying behavior when we get people to adopt Buildxact as their construction software solution. And so we're going to go to the market, and we're going to go to the pro dealer community and the builder community over the next 9 months and develop both a quantitative and qualitative study that will validate statistically what Matthew is telling us all that he wants from us in the supply chain. So we thank you all very, very much for listening to us today. And we hope we've piqued your interest and given you a bit of an insight to one of your customers as well as ours. And we invite you to contact us. You may speak with Craig, Grant, Brad, or myself directly to put your hand up if you would like to participate in the Hidden Profit Project this year. Thank you very much.